This morning, we're wrapping up the series, Have You Been Brand Washed? From display staging to inside speed bumps, it's no surprise that retailers will try almost anything to get us to spend our money. But just how far will they go? Martin Lindstrom is the author of Brand Washed, Tricks Companies Use to Manipulate Our Minds and Persuade Us to Buy More. Martin, good morning.
Good morning.
So you say companies are influencing our buying habits from the moment we're born.
Yeah, this is shocking news. In fact, the latest science shows right now that even before we're born, we're affected by the sense of sound and even the taste. And that means that some brands in Asia now, coffee and candy brands, are infusing signature taste into the candy, make sure the pediatricians are handing it over to the pregnant women. And the sad news is that while those children are born, they actually have a preference for certain coffee brands. So it's really shocking news.
All right, and as a part of this segment, we actually conducted a poll for our viewers. And one of the questions we asked was, how often do you use the brands your parents used? 21% said mostly, and 60% said sometimes. Does that number surprise you?
No, it doesn't. In fact, it's too low. According to a global study which basically created a couple of months ago for the book, we learned that more than 70% of every brand you are using while you're a kid is actually recycled later on as you grow up. And the reason why is because when we use those brands, we kind of feel we owe it to our parents. We feel kind of guilty if we're not using that brand. So that's what the brands are playing on right now.
If it's good enough for my mom, it's, gosh darn it, it's good enough for me.
Yeah.
All right, when it comes to actual shopping, though, you say we spend more. People would buy their favorite brand even if others were cheaper. 60% of viewers say that they have brand loyalty.
Yeah, and that's exactly the reason why I decided to write Brand Washed, because we are all brand washed. We believe that we actually are immune to be affected by anything, but guess what? Today we are so seduced by all those subliminal messages and all that stuff which convince us that we just have to buy that product, right?
Mm-hmm. And this is an interesting one. You say that when you walk into a store, a shopping, like a grocery store, if you shop counterclockwise, you may be spending more, and 64% of people say they shop counterclockwise. And as I thought about it, I know I do too.
Yeah, and the reason why is because we are fundamentally lazy. We don't want to walk an extra 6 steps to the left to grab something. We are grabbing with our right hands. And that's the reason why retail stores now are deliberately creating the store so you're forced to go anti-clockwise.
Wow. And you sweep with your right hand, so that's how they do
Exactly.
it. All right. And why do we buy more when we go counterclockwise?
Well, we buy more because we're grabbing with our right hands, but there's another thing which is really fascinating. Now they're putting speed bumps into the floor. Get this. So you actually walk slower, and you walk so slow that you're likely to pay 6% more for the product because you're stopping and looking around and just grabbing it into your shopping cart.
That's true. That's true. When I'm in a hurry, I buy less. All right. You say that supermarkets in particular are good at staging and that fresh may not be as fresh as we might think. How so?
Well, you know, I would say if you take Whole Foods, which is a great store, I love it, but they are incredibly good at creating what we call a theater. You walk into the store, they're cutting those fresh flowers, and it's not a coincidence. It's to make you feel, to prime you, to make you feel everything is fresh. And then you walk into the vegetable department, and instead of having those small cardboard boxes, which they typically have, they have gigantic dummies. And of course, the reason why they're doing this is because they still want to make us believe that the farmer was just backing up the truck in front of the store and delivering those small cardboard boxes. The reality is it's one big theater.
All right, and we should mention that we contacted Whole Foods. They said we often leave fruit in its box on purpose to reduce handling.
Well, the reality here is, remember, we all want to go back to the market and feel like we're authentic, but this is one big theater.
What about the color of fruit, like bananas?
Oh, you know, this is really fascinating. What we learned is that some retailers actually are deliberately working with color coding systems because they know which color you and I are mostly affected by when we're going out shopping.
Right.
So I'll tell you one thing. This color here is the most powerful color of all of them. It's called 120752 Buttercup.
Okay.
This is a magic color which makes every retailer basically do this because they earn so much money on this one. As soon as it digrates into vibrant yellow, no one is buying it. So everything is primed into the colors in the light, and the colors on the bananas.
I know I don't like my bananas green. That's all. Martin Lindstrom, thanks so much. We appreciate it. It is fascinating.